course I did. All right, welcome everybody to another live show with WargamerOnline in this fine week. We've got quite a few of us tonight. We have Phil, as always.
Hello.
We have Michelangelo.
Hello.
Rachel.
Hey.
And Mr. Pink.
Hey.
So there's a few of us. Right, we'll go down the chat, see who's here. We've got a bunch of stuff to get through, quite a lot actually, because of all the updates and the stuff we wanted to get through on our weekly show anyway. So thank you to everybody who has joined us. We will go from the top. So we have Krilda Karanis, who I've not seen before. Welcome. Henry, War James, Tabletop War James. Steve Forrest, Alwood's Modelling Mayhem, Oric Lovegod, Oric. Have I said Alwood? Yes. Kiblams. And Big Mech Dance School. Anybody else, feel free to say hello and join in the chat. Red Cuffs, there's another one as well. Welcome to the channel. Right, topics-wise. So we're going to go over, first of all, Salute, because Phil, Rachel and myself went to Salute. And Anders Olsen has just joined. Welcome. Thank you. We're starting to become his favourite 40k channel. That's nice. Right, back to the show. So Salute. We're not going to go through it with Mike and Pink because unfortunately they couldn't make it. However, we will start with Rachel and go with what the favourite thing was that we saw at Salute. Because we did a bunch of interviews, didn't we? Or you did actually. You and Phil did all the interviews.
Yeah. So I got to meet Ronnie, who created the Walking Dead board game. That was awesome. Really nice guy. And that was probably one of my favourite moments, just having a chat with him, seeing how he brought about the game, all that kind of stuff. And we also discovered Frostgrave, and we decided to buy it. I can't wait. It looks really good. I had a quick flick through of some of the rules and things like that. And yeah, looks super fun. And probably those two were my highlights, really.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's nice and quick. I mean, mine was probably the same, to be honest. And there were so many things on show. It was good to see so many different types of miniature games, as well as meeting a bunch of different people. It was nice to see Spud and Elster Nation and a bunch of others. Jojo Man was there, just walking around and meeting people and getting faces to names. But in terms of models, there was a few that stood out. I bought some of the stuff from Arc World. Their models were great, loads and loads of character, and also Frostgrave, mainly for the background and the rules and stuff. I quite like the idea of playing Frostgrave.
Yeah,
so,
I think that would be a nice different game for us to try.
Yeah. Are you hobbying, Phil?
No, I am just rearranging so I can type on the keyboard without you complaining, Sam.
Oh, that's fair enough. May as well get your hammer out.
I should have muted my microphone. I'm trying to say hello to Karanis, who's the first time. I've been watching this show a few times, but this is first time typing in the chat. I was trying to type hello, but I'm not even going to type hello now because you've got a hello, Karanis. Welcome on the chat.
Let's just chat. Let's just jump in and say hello to people. We've got Jonathan Shaw, welcome. Bazooka J Rambo, welcome. Basic Miniature Painting, welcome. Dance Macabre. Bunch of people checking in. Clive S. You have only just discovered Frostgrave. Where have you been? Under a GW rock.
In the frozen waste.
Yes. The Chaos Wastes. Phil, what was the thing that stood out for you at Salute?
Well, definitely for me, in terms of, because it tickled my sci-fi fetish, was Drop Zone Commander. And although we didn't interview the guys there, it was a pretty busy store. And we kind of almost peaked at that point in the day, hadn't we? We kind of circled back round to them just as the day was closing. But Drop Zone Commander just looked absolutely beautiful. But of the people we spoke to, Frostgrave, I was excited about that. I liked the sort of style of it. It's quite small. And I just enjoyed that kind of D&D RPG sort of feel to it all, which appealed to me quite a lot. Geez, the Walking Dead board game we've been discussing. We may even get Sarah to do a video of the Walking Dead board game. I was telling her about it today, and she was actually, it sounds okay. We could try it. So we might even get. I think we should do like a special on introducing Sarah to something other than Monopoly.
Well, she was on the zombie side, wasn't she? To be fair, she got on with that.
She did get on with Zombicide, so I was telling her about Walking Dead, and she got quiet. She was like, "Okay, maybe you've convinced me." I don't think we'll ever get her anywhere near 40k and the rest, but we can keep trying a bit by bit. I kind of see those games as gateway plastic crack into the hobby, aren't they? So we'll try and get her in that way. Other than that, I'm just seeing a comment telling me to plug in my geriatric keyboard. Yeah, cheers, man. Thanks for that. That's Auric Love God again, making an ageist comment there. What else, really? It was just all beautiful, wasn't it? It was just incredible to see so much diversity, so much talented sculptors and the enthusiasm of a lot of those smaller independents who are just I dare say 90% of those come out of just simply love for the hobby. So they're just doing something, aren't they? We're talking to a couple of them. They've put their houses on the line. They've put their lives on hold, sort of thing, and their careers they've just sidestepped and they've just gone for it. And it was just nice to see that much passion in something that people are doing. So there's a lesson in there, isn't it? Follow the dream, I think. Follow the dream, because I know it sounds a bit woolly, but that was actually quite nice to see so much passion. And, interested back to Games Workshop, of course, that's what they're exposing to us now, isn't it? No longer do you have the designers and the rest hidden away behind a vault of representatives. We're seeing that actually Games Workshop despite being the kind of largest in the market, is still full of people who really, really care about the hobby. So
the other thing that was nice to see was I quite like the Conflict 47 stuff. I like the spider tank, the German spider tank. That was amazing. And the other
we kind of argued.
A couple of guys have asked about the sandwiches. Were the sandwiches nice? The sandwiches, the cheese.
The sandwiches was good. It was the debate around whether you can pack tomato in a sandwich and it be okay after 2 or 3 hours wrapped in foil. But I think on the whole, the sandwich worked out. Well done, Sam.
Yeah, you won't get them again if you complained.
We have always made good sandwiches though, Sam. We did always say if this didn't work out, he could just go and open up a sandwich shop.
Yes. Yeah, just be careful of the smarto. We've got new people in the chat again. We have Lenito Solidaro. Welcome to the channel. Clive is asking, did you check out Dust 47? We didn't, unless that's the same as Conflict 47.
No, it isn't. It's another sort of weird War 2. We actually walked past it. Their store was really busy at the time, and it's probably worth explaining. We spent the first part of the day, didn't we? The whole morning. The plan was to dash around all of Salute, get a lay of the land, speak to a few people to see if they'd be willing to do interviews and stuff, and then loop back round. And I think by lunchtime we'd made it about a third of the way into Salute, hadn't we? And we've been bumping into people and chatting to people, and it just slowed us right down. So we kind of rushed around the other 2/3, spoke to a few people, and then spent the afternoon doing the interviews. And that just meant, actually, I think we did miss some great stuff out. So next time we will be far more disciplined. We might have to take scouts with us next time. So send the scouts out to go and find all these great things to look at.
Yes, well, hopefully we'll have Pink with us, and we'll have Mike with us, and we'll arrange it well in advance, and we'll get more people involved. Crazy Hippos joined. Welcome, Jack Crows as well, new person to the channel. We've got quite a lot of new people joining, so welcome and thank you for joining. Right, so all in all, if you want to see more about the Salute stuff, we did quite a quick, brief overview of the event, and it's just a bunch of clips switching between the tables. There's quite a lot on YouTube as well, so there's plenty to see. And Rachel and Phil, like I said, did a bunch of interviews with multiple independent games, so it's worth looking at those and just have a bit of a look. Some of the interviews weren't necessarily about the games, it was just about characters in the games and stuff.
It's just sort of a quick 5 or 10 minutes getting to know the people behind the games more than anything. I mean, from my point of view, it's a case of you can see what the games are and what they're all about, whereas how many times can you actually find out a bit more about the creators, if that makes sense? And we did only have a couple of minutes, so they were just sort of a brief overview of how did you create the game and what's it about, really, most of them.
And it was the first time we did any sort of coverage at an event, other than the tournament we went to recently, which was more of a testing if cameras work and if we can do certain things. So we're going to ChillCon next time with the Chilling Wargamers, and we also have Warhammer Fest just the day after as well, so we've got quite a lot of stuff. So we'll get better at interviews, we'll get better at knowing what sort of footage to take, but it's good to see there's a lot of people actually saying that the content was great. Anyway, so that's salute over and done with. Let's go straight on to the first question, which is from.
Well, should we just catch up on? Sorry, Sam. Should we just catch up on chat a second? We've got Juanito Solidario. If I hope I've got your name right. I think that's your first time just discovered the channel. So hello, Bazooka J Rambo.
Before we go any further, Phil, I think you don't listen to what I say.
Did you cover that one?
Yeah, I covered it.
Are you sure?
I definitely did, but we'll cover it again.
Okay.
Do you want to go?
No, that's fine. That's
from
fine.
the top.
Let's. Well, should we all say?
Lenito Solidaro.
Yeah, Lenito Solidaro.
Mike.
What was that, sorry?
We're giving a big shout out to someone like multiple times. You've not even been listening, have you, Mike?
I
think
was.
that's just
I
proved
was
the
thinking
point.
to attempt.
That's just proved the point that nobody's actually listening, even within our own chat. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, I must have discussed that.
Recently discovered this channel.
We should explain that we're both obviously all trying to read the chat and trying to type replies to people and stuff like that. So it does mean every now and then we miss something.
Lord Tattoo has joined.
Welcome,
welcome, Lord Tattoo.
Welcome, Jack Crows.
Yeah,
welcome.
done that.
I think we've got everyone.
Yeah, covered
Got it. You've done it. Okay, sorry.
Shall we get this show moving, or shall we go back through the names again?
I don't know. Should we cover Salute a bit more? No, come on, move on. Move on.
Anders Olsen, Mike sleepy again. Mike's always sleepy.
Oh dear.
It's just constant. Right, are we good, Phil?
Yes, we're good. Let's go. First question.
So from Lee Grout, this was from a few weeks ago. So he asked, how did all of you guys get together? And that is talking about WargamerOnline. Go on, Phil. You like talking?
Well, I've told the story of how I got back into the hobby after quite a few years break, which was wandering past Games Workshop store with my son Jack when he was about 10 years old now. So it was about 5-6 years ago, and got dragged into the store. Well, actually, that's a lie. He looked through the window and said, "What's all that stuff?" And I dragged him into the store, which is closer to it. And we got into the game, and there was a store manager there called Will, and I think we with him probably 1 or 2 years, and then you took over the store, didn't you, Sam? So that's how we met. I met you as the new bright-eyed, bushy-tailed store manager of Leamington Games Workshop. So that's how we met. But after, well, do you want me to carry on talking? After a couple of years, you decided you wanted a break from retail, didn't you? So you and we were having a coffee conversation not long after you'd made that decision.
Yeah.
And I was saying, I've worked in sort of, digital industry for a while, and I think there's a lot that can be done online, and there's a lot can be done around community that I think we could do something with. You were clearly a talented painter, and we said, why don't we try and do something? And that's really how it came about. It came about through a coffee conversation, didn't it? Of saying, let's just give it a go.
Yes, and see what happens.
And that was about a year ago. In fact, on the Facebook page, I actually posted up a memory from exactly a year ago where we just built the first studio, hadn't we? We kind of came over and converted my double garage into a painting studio with sort of lights and things like that. And that, so as you can imagine, to say we launched, 9-10 weeks ago, there has been about a year's worth of work going into this in terms of building a library of
It's 11 weeks now.
The video.
This is the 11th.
Is it 11 weeks?
Yeah, and we've done one a week. We had a couple of videos that were up before, but that was because they were unlisted. So that was when we badly planned preparing stuff.
But it's been a huge amount of work, starting from, as you can imagine, anybody doing this, what should we call it? And sort of sitting around and coming up with names, and then working on the creative, and then digging into the technology a bit. We've had to literally teach ourselves everything from the start, haven't we? Neither of us had really kind of dug into the technology and how to stream and how to do all of those things. So we wanted to kind of get it. Yeah, it was a huge learning curve, and we wanted to get it right before we felt confident to launch, really, didn't we? And we wanted to be able to, because we were launching both the website and the YouTube channel, that led us into kind of preparing quite a lot, which is why you have that year gap.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing to think.
Gracie has just said, unfortunately, he has to go to sleep. I'm hoping it's not my conversation that's just done that.
Feel free to complain about the content of the Caradron Overlord boxes without me. Gracie, we will complain to the high heavens just for you.
There's just not enough heavy weapons in there, we know.
So in terms of the rest of the guys that were involved, so Rachel is obviously my wife, and Rachel has been helping from the beginning. She's the one that convinced me to get out of retail finally and do something that I dreamed to do more than anything, and I've never had the courage to do so. So Phil obviously has a lot of the ideas. Phil pushes me to learn things, teaches me how to use programs and things like that.
I think Phil's the brains of the bunch.
Phil's got brains.
No, not really.
Rachel has. Rachel pushes me forwards, and then Mike kind of holds my hand the whole way through it. Like Mike. So when I was a store manager, Mike was with me pretty much every single day from when I started, weren't you, Mike?
Yeah, it's been a few years now. It's what, 3 years ago, I think, roughly.
Yeah, and he's pretty much been in that store every single day since we met. And I think I saw more of Mike while I was working in that store than I did Rachel. It was pretty.
Yeah, I have become your second wife.
Second wife. Yeah. That's going to be your new title.
Yeah.
Not Backrep Mike, second wife Mike. So Mike helped massively while I was in the store, and then as soon as we decided to go forwards with this channel, Mike's been helping behind the scenes. He's not done loads of painting stuff tutorials yet, but he's been learning alongside. He's been learning how to do everything, so we're going to get Mike on board fully, and he's going to be doing painting tutorials and editing alongside. Another one that's helped massively from the beginning was Pink as well, and he's massively into the rules, the tactics, and he's like the brainy one out of all of us. He I
wouldn't thank Pink too quickly, considering he's just commented in the chat saying watching Sam learn to edit films was like watching chimps learn to use tools.
Yeah, power tools as well.
Hey, I build scenery with hammers.
I mean, it's worth mentioning as well that Rachel got a promotion on the way down to Salute as well, isn't it? Because we took an executive decision and voted her in as MD as well. So we realised actually she's much better simply being in a position of power than and that seems to have worked out really well since then. I think the business has run a lot smoother since we put Rachel in charge.
It's all because of that. Yeah, it's that decision.
Channel subscriptions just boomed as soon as we made it.
It's like people knew.
And the funny thing is, for those people who are watching, Rachel keeps laughing at this, thinking it's a joke, but we're absolutely serious about it. I've put the paperwork through and everything.
So on top of this, before we go off topic again and talk about Rachel being the MD and all this, there's been a bunch of other people that have helped us as well. So since we launched as well, there's been multiple channels that have helped us out with a lot of stuff. There's been local guys that we play games with at the store as well. Steve, who's in the chat, Steve's helped out with a bunch of stuff. He's offered himself for as many battle reports as I think we can ever do. There's been a bunch of others from the store as well. Liam, who was on our first chat, as well as some other guys. So there's a lot of support, and it's really, really nice to have so much support from everybody, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I think people got a little bit of insight into that when we went live with the chat the other night, and there was about 7 or 8 people on it, wasn't it? Which is the kind of usual crowd that we're all talking through ideas. And I think that's been the thing as well. We've also kind of come up with ideas and tested those ideas amongst that group, and that's always been helpful to get feedback and see what people want, because they're all hobbyists. That's the main thing. We've started that as the core of what we've tried to do, is kind of keep true to being a hobbyist, really, you know.
We've got more people joining the chat. Should we go to the chat for a second, Phil? I know you love going to the chat.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know where
I don't think I
read up
shouted
to or
out
where
Frost
you
and
stopped.
Fists. Mythos is here.
Frost and
Mythos
Fists.
has arrived.
We've got such a sweet spot for you, man.
Yeah. Wow, you guys are so pro for having just taught yourself. Yeah. I wouldn't say pro. I'd say we just we get along with what we can do on editing programs. Pankaka Medsilt. I think I pronounced that right. Welcome. We have more stuff. So Karanis has said, so I guess Pink was not there to remind you of your Iron Jaw rules during yours and Rachel's bat rep. No, he wasn't.
No, he was not. If he
if-
was, it would have gone very differently.
You need to watch mine and Pink's game. It's up on premium.
All of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that go, Pinker? So you've got a battle report on premium, haven't you?
No
How did
spoilers.
Remembering all your rules go.
No
Don't
No
spoil the
spoilers. No
end.
spoilers. I remembered none of them. None. I'm going to get lots of little tokens to put by all the units.
Okay, and then we've got Krilda asking Sam, how did you meet Rachel? This is for another day. We'll have this as another
Really?
story. We'll have another story about
Okay.
how me and Rachel.
We'll have I think we could do a Sunday night special. Rachel and Sam, cutest couple in wargaming, something like that.
Consistently Stupid. Nice name. Welcome to the channel. Just getting back into the hobby. Glad to have found a channel that is just starting up to follow while I build a new army. That's brilliant. Which army are you doing? For which army?
Well, yeah.
Small...
Tell us which army, because we'll be doing a bunch of those when 8th edition comes out as well, won't we? We're all sort of saying we'll start a new one. So. And
Small Mac has joined as well. Afternoon all. Welcome to the channel. We've not seen you before as well.
Oh, I've literally just picked up on Auric Love God's comment. That's awesome. I think what I like best is that you all get along, not afraid to speak your mind, not afraid to listen, and you have experts and novices. And in brackets, he's put Rachel. Thanks. Thanks for the shout out.
Blackjack Legacy has joined as well. Welcome. Right, let's keep going with this. So that's how did we all get together? The other question was
Pankaka Medsilt, by the way, loved your pronunciation. I doubt I got it any better, but I think
pancakes with jam. That's awesome. Yes. I'm going to remember that. Pancakes from now on. Astra Militarum army for 8th. Awesome. Brilliant stuff. That was one of the armies I was tempted to do, but been forced.
Thousand Suns and Tau at the same time is what Consistently Stupid is working on. Not Allied, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But just because she couldn't choose nice aesthetics of both of those armies.
Okay. Shall we do some more questions? We've got the second part of this question. We've not even finished one yet.
Sure.
So the second part. How or why did you decide to go the whole hog and do a YouTube channel as well as a website? So we'll do this one a bit quicker. It's not just 40k Sam Goodwin. This is wargaming on a internet level. I couldn't think of anything else. Internet level. So why did we do YouTube as well as a website, Phil?
Well, two sides to it, really. YouTube, because that's where the majority of the audience is. And, well, I'll come back to the end, actually. And the website is so we could develop a commercial model to enable us to do more and more of it. You mentioned that, Sam, that Rachel has supported you sort of emotionally and with the go get it. But, you've also put an entire year of your life into this. And
so far,
the website and so far the website's has got a premium section, so that is about having a commercial aspect to what we do, so people can support us through that. We talked about all the different ones, and I think it's a longer chat, but I'll briefly cover it. We talked about the different ways you can recover the money. You can do it through just donations and the various different mechanisms for donation, but ultimately we decided that we wanted the value of what we do, if you like, to be representative in where people put their money. In other words, if you're prepared to support us financially to enable us to do more, we wanted a direct reward attached to those people who were doing so. So premium content, more content, basically, for those people who are subscribing, feels more like a two-way relationship. They're supporting us financially, which enables us to build the business and, hopefully do more and more with Mike and Pink and everybody and grow the team. And you can't... The problem with YouTube's mechanism for doing that is they've not got a global policy in place for being able to charge, if you like, premium for your videos. It only works in about a third of the world, and we wanted it to be available for everybody. Plus, the website gives us functionality that doesn't exist on YouTube. So yes, of course, we present all our videos, but what's really nice about the website is we can present it in lots and lots of different ways. So you can choose, I want to see all your battle reports, or I want to see everything 40k related, or I want to see everything featuring Tau, whether it's a painting tutorial or whether it's... So it enabled us to kind of segment and for people to easily and quickly filter that content to what they want. And then on top of that, there's a bunch of other sections that we're currently building up around the community as well, which you definitely can't do some of the stuff we've got ideas for. I mean, there's a start of an events calendar on there. So if people are listening in and they want me to put their events on our website, give me a shout and we'll have a look at it. ChillCon's on there and all the rest. So there's lots of things we can do with a website we can't just do with a YouTube channel.
But
The
other
YouTube
thing
channel
as well,
is really
I
important
know you said
to
you're going
reach out to people.
you were going to keep it brief and stuff, but
That was brief.
yeah, okay.
Do you want? I can
No.
into it.
I like the brief version. Expanding on all of that as well, because obviously there's a lot of, as well as time, there's been a lot of money put into setting everything up. On top of that, we've got an announcement tomorrow for something that we've got going, which we're going to be talking about on the sofa. But also that premium membership, it also pays for things like improving the website and the speed of the website, because that's what we have to start somewhere and then build it up. So premium membership fees go towards help making everything better, as well as producing more content and keeping us making it.
Yeah. Keeping you fed in ice creams as well.
Ice creams, yeah, they're expensive. They're expensive in more.
Ice creams are more expensive than premium membership.
Yes. That's true. One premium membership is not enough for an ice cream.
So that's why we went those two routes anyway. A relatively brief answer, I would say. For me, that was a brief answer.
Frost
and
and
I
Fist
think YouTube has been brilliant for building up that community as well, and actually getting WargamerOnline out there. I mean, it's just really taken off, and I don't think any other format would have done that.
No.
We're going to go through the chat because it's just been going off. I think I've just seen Skeleton Nids, Zombie Nids, Lord of Bones, Metal. It's just crazy now in there. Minty Moores, but I haven't played 40k for years. My first rulebook was Rogue Trader, and the first unit I tried to paint was 5 Black Orcs, and I only had the basic 6 paint. So it's great that you've come back and you're going to give it another go, especially at this perfect time for it.
Perfect time.
Hopefully there's some videos that you can watch as well, which may get you back up to speed if you haven't got to speed already on the updates in the hobby, because there's been a whole lot of painting and gaming aids that have been released since then. What else have we got? Callum Rose, welcome to the channel. So Frost and Fist, speaking of financial growth, will you guys be doing any WGO fan merchandise? If you go to the website, there is a tab for shop, and that links through to our web store where you can buy merchandise. And we haven't... Who's typing away really loud?
My bad.
Rachel. Cheese and bread. It sounds like you're running up a hill. It really does sound like you're running up a hill.
I was so glad that wasn't me. I was thinking, oh, Sam's going to kill me.
All I can hear is... That's brilliant, Rachel. Thank you. Right, so you can go to the website, you can click on shop, and you can buy stuff. It's the best way to support us is by doing the premium membership, because the merchandise is more of a way for you to buy something. We get, I think, £1 or £2 maximum from everything that's been bought.
We use the same people who Games Workshop use, so it's worth mentioning. The stuff is like premium quality merchandise, and we get pence on that, if that, I think. So it's that's really just for people to be able to do that. I think we'll expand that side of it as well. We've talked about things like dice and obviously templates and things like that.
Not templates anymore. We'll go. All right, let's get on to some more topics, because we've dabbled for a long time now about us, and nobody wants to hear about us. 40k 8th. So these are some of the topics that we've come up with to talk about. We've got some updates from the last 2 days as well, which we can go over very briefly, because we've got profiles for units and we've got profiles for weapons. So they're 2 big things that we want to get to as well. For the first question, though, we're going to go with, what underpowered / trash units are you hoping to be able to field again in 40k 8th edition? So put this in the chat. We'll try and read out as many as we can, because I imagine it's going to go a little bit nuts inside there. We're going to start with Pink, on which unit you are looking forward to the most to using.
The entire Orc Codex. In honesty, it's going to either be my Stomper or my Morkanaut, because both of which, like the Stomper, cost the same as 2 Imperial Knights, or over the cost of 2 Wraith Knights, and would get absolutely destroyed by them. But I love the ugly hunk of metal that it is, so I'm really looking forward to bringing them back to the table. And I think GW even knew that they needed a bit of help, because they actually specifically mentioned that one in their website announcement.
Did you feel like that was aimed at you?
Yeah, personally.
They were like, what does Pink want to play? He plays Orcs, but what's his favourite model? Morkanaut. Or Gorkanaut.
Yeah, love that thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think with the changes happening to the 8th edition, we're going to see a lot of bigger vehicles and monstrous creatures on the board again. I think they're going to dominate quite heavily. They're going away from the one-shotting vehicles and one-shotting anything. So the stuff that does have the large amount of wounds are going to run around the battlefield and destroy things.
Yeah, you're not worried that tank, that vehicle is just going to blow up turn 1 and take a quarter of your army with it. So.
Right, we've got issues with the chat, apparently. Nobody can type anything. I'm going to type something and see if anybody can respond, because Steve's just messaged me. Oh,
no.
I got it, it's fine. Nothing's wrong with the chat on our side.
Anybody on that side? Can someone reply? The last one was Henry.
Yeah, the last thing we saw was from Henry Armstrong saying, what would you use for skeleton nids as models?
I think that's referencing a conversation that was taking place above undead hive tyrants and things like that. So they were talking about zombie nids.
Oh, there we go.
Hey Sean, hey Jonathan, hey Callum, hey Big Mate, thank you.
Yeah, I can't send messages from Callum Rose. Jonathan Shaw, something, and Sean Blake, hey, how's it going? Thank you for joining.
Steve, you want to get one of those geriatric keyboards that was recommended to you?
Craig's Kiblams has just messaged me saying I can't type in the chat either, so I don't know what's going on with the chat. Maybe some people can type, some people can't. We haven't limited.
It's been blocking people again.
Yeah, Phil, you haven't got your
I
iPad
haven't
out,
blocked anyone. I've not blocked anyone. I've not.
No, don't worry. It was blocking me, and it's back up again now. I think it just went down.
Maybe YouTube chat just went a bit weird for a second. I apologise on YouTube's behalf. Okay, I'm looking forward to the Lord of Schools being usable again, because one hit.
Have you got one of those?
No, but I'm going to get one.
I say that's the only one they ever sold.
Yeah, I had one and I got rid of it because it was an awesome model, but it was pretty rubbish for the points that it cost. It was not on the same level as everything else, so I definitely wasn't going to be using it. But I'm looking forward to using the Lord of Schools, which I need to purchase again. Rachel, you don't play 40k? We'll skip you.
Thanks, Sam.
Mike, I think the chat must have gone weird because there's still nobody saying anything, and I don't want to have to refresh the chat in order to get it working. What shall we do, Phil? I like how Phil's just muted himself.
He's muted himself, yeah.
Sorry, that's because I was typing to see if I could work out what was happening there. Do you think it's gone again? I've sent a hello test too, but nobody else seems to respond.
No, I just tried it.
No, we're getting them coming in.
Good.
It must be a problem at YouTube's level then, because it's affecting some people and not others. Maybe if people can refresh or something, and then they can get back on. But we seem to be working up here. Auric Love God, of course, just uses his Auric powers to get through any technical issue.
Yeah. Even if there was no
Henry
internet.
can't type. Henry's just sent me a text message as well saying he can't type either, which is weird. I didn't know he had my mobile number. So hey, Henry.
Oh, now it's all coming through. Oh dear.
It's all coming
no.
Marbo.
That was a lot of chat. Right.
Each time the app works.
So maybe there was some kind of thing. Jack Crows is saying he wants to use Pyrovores. Yay, back up.
Chase Congdon, welcome to the channel. I've not seen you before. How do you think Gauss will work?
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's come back to that and if we can, Mr. Pink can finish his message off, and then maybe we'll debate some of those when we get on to the weapon stats.
Belief is enough.
Good question. I'll make a note.
Geronimo, yay, after 20 tries, I can post. So I apologise to anybody who's tried to say something. It's something to do with YouTube. We haven't pressed anything. It's just not working as well. So type, and if it doesn't appear, type again and cross your fingers that it works. Pink said what he's looking forward to using. I have. Mike, what are you looking forward to using that you didn't use now?
Well, I would have said something to do with the Eldar, but the thing is all of the Eldar were usable in 7th. There wasn't really a bad unit, I don't think. So with 8th coming around the corner, I'm looking at probably starting a Marine army. And I think I will be having a fair few Dreadnoughts in the list.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer a case of, it doesn't seem at this minute in time, it's a case of first turn, all of them have gone now. It looks like they're going to be hefty beasts on the table that will be able to get across the table. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to most, because it's a big thing, and it was obviously I didn't field Marines before, so if I was going against a Marine player, it's with my Elder, it's first shot, take it off. But it doesn't seem the case that it's going to be like that anymore. You're going to have these big things getting across the table, and they're going to last for a good few turns by the looks of it.
Yeah, and the other thing is you could use your Eldar army again without feeling bad.
Yeah, that is the other one, yeah. Well, I'm hoping so.
Awesome. We've got loads of stuff. So Dell, 88 Shadow Angel has joined the chat. Rob Norton has joined as well. We have there's loads of people. There's so many people. I'm struggling. Underdog Painting, welcome to the chat. Geronimo, like I've already said. Chase Congdon's put, just watched the last 3 8th edition live shows you guys released. Thank you for watching them. There's going to be more. Tomorrow we're going to do another chat. It's going to be on the sofa. Me, Phil, maybe Rachel and Pink. Not Pink, Mike as well.
A little bit more focused on the 8th edition stuff as well, amongst other things.
Yeah. Tonight is our weekly chat. We've got an announcement at the end as well, actually. If people do stick around till the end, we've got a really cool chat coming on Sunday. Sunday evening is going to be a really exciting one. We've got a really special guest. So we'll talk about that at the end. Just remind me to put that in.
Will do.
Right. Phil, what are you looking forward to using?
Well, yes. Obviously, jet bikes, Eldar jet bikes. Just so underpowered during the last game. Nice to see the scatter lasers actually achieve something.
You sound really happy.
It's gone really quiet there.
We're just listening to you, Phil.
We're listening, yeah.
I was joking about Eldar jet bikes. They're amazing. Anything, I'm going to go with Pink Sand. None of you are just sat there thinking, has he gone crazy?
We didn't have to think that. We know this.
Almost similar to Pink Sansa, anything other than the Hive Tyrant in the Tyranid Codex would be lovely. You know, the sort of Flyrant, which you just saw too many of them on the Tyranid board. So I'm already excited by the news that they're going to be fast. They're going to be faster than Eldar, or at least Hormagaunts are. Again, Eldar are going to be faster than the Imperium. So I like that, the idea of this horde just swarming across the board, very much like Oryx can do with their crazy moves. You know, they can be in your face in turn 1. I love that idea. It's just going to be fantastic, and people will have to think of all sorts of defensive tactics to stop that.
Yeah, when you see Iron Jaws do that, you just complain.
Carnifexes as well. I haven't fielded. Yeah, of course I complain. Now I'm going to be able to do it. There's a very big difference over a rule when you can do it within your own army and when it's somebody else's. Carnifex. I've not fielded Carnifex in ages, and I love them. I love them as a model, and I love the idea of them. These sort of brute beasts that stamp across the board. But if any opponent of Tyranids saw Carnifexes, the first thing they do is remove the Carnifex. They just, I'll get rid of those first. And that's a bit like Dreadnoughts for Marine players, isn't it? You know, Mike, you were saying earlier, anybody who put a Dreadnought on the board, then you were only putting it on for one turn. You always knew that.
Yeah, before he got.
So it would be nice. Would be nice to see all of that again. So Close Combat Tyranid Warriors again is one of the comments, and I think that was from Karanis. I'm with you on that one because I built a bunch because I had faith in my Tyranid army that wasn't founded in the rules at all. I would just build them based on how they looked, which is why I'm so excited about 8. Because if it's going to reward thematic players who like to build things how they look, then I'm super happy.
Got to go through the chat again. We have Jim Wilson joined. Nordheim Gaming, welcome to both of you. Thank you to everyone who's thumbed up the video again this early. Normally a lot of people do it at the end, but we're getting it throughout the show as well, so thank you for everyone who's thumbed that up. Callum Rose, I've only just
Alright, Love God just picks on me, doesn't he? Have you read the comment about saying yeah, thanks for that. All right, Love God saying he had a birthday go by when I started and ended my conversation. Thanks, sorry.
Callum Rose has just put, I've only just got into AOS and stayed away from 40k because of how confusing it got, and now he's about to switch as soon as new shiny models come out, and I think everybody's going to do that. Everyone's going to join in and play 40k, but the great thing is you can play both of them without needing to have really complicated rules. You can just play both games. Which is great for me. I've got such a tiny brain that I can only hold so much information. An extra page is like a whole load of painting information just disappeared.
A tiny brain, Sam, but what a face. What a beautiful face.
Yes, my troll-like image. Right, next question. So next topic, which is what mechanic would you like to see as a command point ability? So we were talking about command point abilities. Some of the ones that they said were getting +1 to your wound, +1 to hitting, being able to select one of your units to attack before the opponent, even if they charged you. So we're going to have a quick run round on what we think would be a good idea. I'm going to do mine first, I think, if I remember what it was. Oh, it was Overwatch. So I was thinking that if Overwatch still stays exactly the same and you need 6s to hit something, I don't know if it will be like that, but using a command point to shoot at normal ballistic skill. I think that's just a pretty basic one that anybody could do, especially like the shooting armies like Tau, Eldar could definitely benefit from that. So that's my choice. Mike, did you think of anything?
Well, I think mine's going to build off yours, because mine was to do with Overwatch as well. What I was thinking was, and this may have been something I had anyway, and I don't know if it was only Tau that had it in 7th, is to use a command point for another. So if you've got one unit that's being charged, if there's a secondary unit within, say, 6 inches, that can then Overwatch as well. If Overwatch is still in there, that's what I was thinking to use a command point for, that a secondary unit can Overwatch.
Yeah, because Tau had that anyway. Maybe Tau, as a thematic rule, one of their rules will change to that. So if you take a certain detachment, you have the ability to do that. Is Phil writing stuff down now as well? I can even hear this.
What?
It's just constant. It's either drinking, eating, writing, tapping. You know, there's some shows where you can hear Phil just tapping on the table, just making noises.
You're literally the only one that notices.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see what the chat says, if anybody else can hear it. I think that's a really good one, Mike. It's a really good one to chuck in there. We'll go to pink next.
It would be interesting to see if it was other armies that can do it as well.
Yes, it'll be definitely another. I mean, all those people who complained about Tau being able to do that, if suddenly Imperial Guard get to do exactly the same thing, that would be great.
Yeah, because nothing's been said so far as Overwatch goes yet, has it?
Chase has put, what about command points to give certain units / heroes an invuln save? I hate Sam. Cheers, Phil. That's what you were writing. This is why it's so important that he has to write this sort of stuff down. So that's a good one. Using a command point to give certain units an invulnerable save. If they even exist. They might not exist anymore. Command point to respawn some gaunts. That's another good one. So you can use it to regen. That's a really good one, actually. I like that. Additional synapse from Jack Crow's. Additional synapse abilities like Rage or Split Fire. There's quite a few, actually. I never thought about any of this. I just picked Overwatch and went with it. Deep Strike, not scattering, but is scattering even a thing anymore? There, you've got rid of the scatter dice. Excessive magnetization. Thank you for joining the chat. But yeah, the scatter dice is gone. Maybe they're going to do the same as Age of Sigmar, where you just pick a unit, pick an area that's more than so many inches away from an enemy, and then you get to place your drop pod or anything that's deep striking.
It's worth mentioning the scatter dice being gone was answered directly by the games designer on his Twitter account, wasn't it? So that was one of the questions they've answered. Has gone.
There's loads here. We've got another one. Command to make an objective worth more. Another good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's from Kablams. Red Cuffs. A command point to split a unit into 2 separate units for a turn, but they must return to 1 unit by next turn. So that's almost a split fire, but on more than... Maybe we should just get Games Workshop reading this chat and just come with... Because this is quite a lot of good ideas. An Astra command that allows them to auto-pass a reserve roll. Yeah, so you could have them... There's so many. Command point... Sorry, we're not even going to go through the Hangout. We've got too many good ones on here. I'm just going to turn my head and read this for a moment because there's loads. D-weapons inflict mortal wounds. Oh no, D-weapons don't exist anymore. That's...
Well, yeah.
Command
the rule
points...
itself doesn't exist.
No.
You will probably see them very similar to this huge rend value, this armor piercing value of like -7 or something that we've seen in Armageddon.
Command points to get rid of a unit's AP for a turn in the opponent's turn. It's another good one. Right, so we've done Mike's and mine. Phil, what do you think? We'll go to Pink last because he's probably got a gem.
Well, you read a bunch out. Okay, Rachel first.
No. I meant like after you just said Pink's last. I was like, okay, don't worry about me.
Yeah, you're still.
Well, it was meaning you go in between. Yeah. I think.
Oh, my bad.
Never forget you, Rachel.
Don't
when
fire
has Sam ever forgotten you?
Rachel, please don't fire me.
Weirdly enough, the one I was going to say, which was a backup to one I was going to say, but somebody had already said, has just popped up now with Small Mac, who said, calling in an artillery strike. I was going to go with being able to definitely call in one unit from reserve, I think would be really good. If the reserve mechanic is still in place where you have to roll to see if they come in, which, maybe. But I like the idea of just pulling. I think pulling everything off reserve is probably a bit much for one command point. I'm not quite sure how much you can spend. But there's sometimes you just need that unit on the table when something's happened in game and you need that unit. So the idea of the commander getting on the phone, it's even thematic to a command point, isn't it? And going, get over here now. And attached to that then, because I'm sneaking in a second one, because somebody had already said bring in reserves, is maybe something like bringing a flyer in to do a single passover and a bombing run. So you might need the model for it, the artillery strike that you get from Astra Militarum, which I think would work, of course, for those guys because they've got orbital ships. But the idea of maybe pulling a flyer, because they did divide the flyers down into 3 groups, and we've probably seen the end of the flyer rules in that sense now, because nobody really played it that way. But the distinction between an attack flyer and a bomber and those kind of things, and being able to call a block bomber in and do a bombing run would be quite cute as well.
Okay, we've got 2 more. Rob Norton's asked, my question is, does he regret taking the arms off your model with 8th edition coming? Do you regret it, Mike?
Sorry, say that again.
You ripped the arms off the Storm Fiend. We're never gonna. This is going to be a running theme every single live chat. I think we're going to go back to the time where.
Do I regret it? No.
You can... And I'll do it again.
I might get some pictures up on the community page today, and then people can tell me whether it was worth it or not.
Oh, that's true actually, because you started doing your Sigmar Showdown model, haven't you? And I've finished mine. It's in a box.
Yeah, I think I'm up to the point now where I'm ready to actually start getting some paint on it. So I'm going to try and put some pictures up later.
That's awesome. Well, Sigmar Showdown, if anyone hasn't seen it already, you've got probably a week left, which is more than enough. Phil hasn't even started painting his. I think Pink, have you started yours? You started
painting the new army?
No, you Sigmar Showdown.
I'm saving it.
What do you mean you're saving it?
I've got a week to go. It's going to be a speed run.
Okay. So if you want to join in, check the video.
And the teacher says, "Have you done your homework?" Did you go? No, I'm saving it.
Brilliant. We've got another one as well. Red Cuffs has said, a command point that allows your cat to jump onto the table. Any models knocked over are removed as casualties. That's great. You just have to have a cat. And Kablams has said he best get cracking with finishing mine. Yes. Do you mean Sigmar Showdown? Yes. Hashtag Sigmar Showdown. So check the video out. It's a few weeks ago now, I think, actually. And all the details are in there. Post it up on the Facebook page. And when you've finished, send the pictures to... There's a link on our website somewhere, isn't there, Phil?
Yes, there is. There's a page on the website, I think, under the community section.
Okay.
So if you click on community, you'll go to the Sigmar Showdown page where you can submit images or just post them on our Facebook page.
Just be clear when it's finished so I can compile and make sure that I've got finished photos and not work in progress ones.
Yes.
Henry Armstrong has asked, you guys going to Warhammer Fest this year? We most definitely are, aren't we, Phil?
Yes, we are. Do you need a lift, Henry?
No.
Oh, that's my spot.
Yeah. Right.
Chase Congdon, how do you think artillery armies? I'm moving on a little bit, but it's a good question. How do we think artillery armies will work differently? A couple of hits to do D6 wounds each. I think so. Well, question mark. Do we want to cover that? Are we going to get onto the weaponry kind of questions soon?
Yeah, we've got Gauss weaponry as well to go through. Let's just finish off what Rachel and
not done Rachel then.
And
yeah,
Pink.
That's a good point.
I know we've listened to your answer. We just move on, don't we? We don't need to listen to anybody else.
Pink said he was saving it. Is that? I thought he was saving
Phil had
everything.
2 answers, and that's it. Now we just carry on. Rachel,
move on.
Rachel, what would you like a command point ability to do?
To be fair, mine wasn't sensible anyway. I was just going to say, like, if you kill a hero, you have a command ability and you can just bring any hero back.
Yeah, moving on. Pink, what was yours?
That is quite cool. Wow, that is quite cool. The idea of your hero sort of climbing out from underneath a tank ruin and going, I'm still okay. I'm fighting on. I like that.
You'd be so broken and you'd be so gutted. You've just taken out, like, a huge captain or general or whatever, and then he just comes back.
Yeah. Well, we've all seen the movies. We know it happens in the movies all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Will you guys do a painting showdown similar to the conversion one? it was pretty much both. So the idea was that you convert and paint a model. Maybe with the 40k one, I think actually with the 40k one, when we get around to that, it might be June or July that we'll start that. It will be still a conversion and a painting project. So even if you're not great at painting, you can convert. If you're not great at converting, you do a little head swap or something, and then you can focus on the painting. So we're not asking for like some groundbreaking conversion or groundbreaking painting. It's just to make a unique model and have something really cool on the internet that we can all take a look at.
And I think it's worth mentioning it's as much the idea as the finish as well. So if you're not too confident in your painting or your conversion skills, we're looking at it from an idea point of view as well. You know, just having a great idea and attempting it, that's what sometimes this hobby's about, and that's what actually drives you forward anyway in skills, is just going, I think I can stick that to that and that on top of that and a bit of green stuff and see what comes out.
I'm just reading the comments. I've got Mythos saying heroes never die, which is a reference from Overwatch, from what's her name, your favourite character, Rach?
Farah.
Not Farah. Oh. It's not. It's the healer.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it? Oh.
Well done, Rach.
I played that game once.
I so like.
And it's great because Phil listens to all of us playing Overwatch, because we sit on Hangouts while we're playing Overwatch, and he doesn't play it, but he sits there just reading out names from the game over and over again, so that he feels like he's a part of the group. It's great.
I like joining in the chat where I'm like, oh, Farah's around the corner, I've got him, and things like that. I'm trying to help out. I need to talk, I need a healer.
Pink's also put, I'm never going to get to say my ideas, and Karanis has said, shh, Pink, everything will be okay. Which is brilliant. Right, Pink, what was your idea?
Okay, this is what I get for going last. I had 3, which you all took. So I was going to say Overwatch at full ballistic skill.
Yeah.
I was going to say reserves come on automatically, so cheers, guys. So now I'm going to have to resort to the last one, which is if we still got Maelstrom objectives, I'd like to be able to spend a command point to pick what the mysterious objective would be.
Yeah.
So like I want Skyfire, or if I wanted extra cover or like minus charge, the ability to not have that just be a random useless bit of terrain would be quite cool, I think.
And you could model that as well. You could have a character holding a barricade, as if like you get to that objective point and then just place it down and say this is extra cover, and it's actually thematic. I think
that would be pretty cool.
Or just carrying a giant anti-air gun.
Yeah.
You could do it. You're playing orcs.
There's some good ones on the chat again now. Command points that offer +1 cover save to the army till the end of turn.
Army's quite a big one.
Hero could come back with just one wound. There you are, Rachel. A bit of balance to that.
Yes.
What else have we got in there? I think there was one more I've seen. Maybe not. Okay, no, I'm missing it now. I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Kablams has put, I think the Twitter Q&A confirmed Maelstrom, so I don't know. I didn't see that one, to be honest. What did they say about Maelstrom? Anyway, shall we go on to the last topic bit before we go on to weapons, because we can start wrapping this one up. So the last point that we picked to go over was, we are all excited for 8th edition, but what about 7th do you think you might miss? And we'll start with Pink, because he went last time and he didn't have anything to say, so go ahead, Pink.
No, fair enough. I think what I'm going to miss is come back to me.
Are you kidding me?
I've got to think. These are my questions. I've still got to think about this one.
Mike?
Keep going a minute.
Rachel?
I don't play 7th edition.
Right, okay, for me, it's going to be the players, to be honest. If there's going to be a bunch of players that decide they don't want to play the game because of whatever reason, maybe not wanting to try it, then it will be a shame, because we'll miss a bunch of players that are currently wargamers and do not want to go forwards. Because I know a bunch of people who played Fantasy refused to even give Age of Sigmar a try, and obviously they dropped out of the hobby or went on to a different game. So I think the players is one thing. That was literally random thing I picked. Phil?
That's the kind of answer that would win you Miss World. That was awesome.
It's wasted now.
I'm sorry. I spoiled it. It's a great answer. I'm really annoyed because it's much better than my answer.
It probably was Pink's answer. Yeah. Pink, was that your answer?
Yeah, I like that answer. I'll take that answer.
Shall we just move on to the next two bits? Ninwin's put, if a bunch of players leave...
Everyone here is really, really keen for 8th, and everyone was up for a bit of change. That we can move on, and we're not even heartbroken really about anything. shows that we're ready for this.
This is true. I mean, Mike, if you can sit there and say I'm going to miss that Eldar are going to steamroll every single game that I play, but Mike's not even like that. He really couldn't care less whether he's going to steamroll anybody. So he played Wraiths because they were cool, not because they were going to win in most games.
Well, it's the same for me, like just playing games in general. I'll turn up and play a game even if I know I'm going to lose before it's even started. I'm there just for fun.
Yeah. Kablams has put, did the fantasy community change much from the Exodus? I think it changed when they released points. A lot of people came back to Age of Sigmar. Initially, there was so much hate in the hobby about fantasy and what was done that it was quite difficult to say that you enjoyed. Like, me and Mike probably got abuse more than anything for just admitting that we liked Age of Sigmar in the beginning when there was no point.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of that.
It was almost like you said, I like Age of Sigmar, and somebody would slap you in the face and say, you're an idiot, why do you like it? And it's like, well, it's a hobby, I enjoy the game.
The difficult one with it was that there was so many people who was like, I've got no interest in even attempting to play it.
Yeah.
But then you had some others where it's like, I'm not that sure on it. I don't. Well, let's run you through a game, see what you think. And they play it, and actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Which is what hopefully will be the case with 40k now.
Well, they switched.
Is that people will give it a try.
As soon as the points were released for Age of Sigmar, the community switched completely, and now Age of Sigmar is quite a big thing. We've been putting up battle reports, trying to do one a week at the moment, and our Age of Sigmar one's got the most views and the most comments. People love Age of Sigmar at the moment, and I think with the switch that happened in that, 8th edition has just gained a lot of momentum. I think a lot of gamers are now really looking forward to 8th, and there's no negativity, or there is negativity, but it's not on the level of Age of Sigmar. Henry's put, at least this time we know by the way Age of Sigmar plays that 40k will become more fun to play. And I remember Henry was one of the people who initially didn't like the change. Pretty soon after he got on board, but there was a lot of people in my local store that weren't on board, and it took a lot to convince people, and now everyone's playing it, everyone's loving it. It's great.
I think, and I know it's been said before, but I think it's very true. I think they've really learned from Age of Sigmar what worked, what didn't, and they are incorporating that by the looks of it into this new change as well.
Oh, this is another one actually, and Phil, you've said this to me before. Anders Olsen's put, even the managers at my local game store basically didn't like the fact that people were interested in Age of Sigmar. And you were saying that with some stores that you would go into, the managers weren't even interested in it.
Yeah, as part of my job, I sort of travel around a bit, and I went into one store probably about 3-4 months after Age of Sigmar was released, and I walked in, and the tension in there was incredible. And I walked up to the Age of Sigmar stand, and this was an official GW store, so I'm not going to do them a disservice and credit it and mention who it was, but walked into a GW store, and I picked up one of the Age of Sigmar models, and the guy looked over at me and said, "We don't do that in here." And the store manager didn't even disagree with the comment, just carried on doing what they were doing at the till. And it was like, well, I do that. And I think I mean, to be honest, that was the saddest part of Age of Sigmar. I hope we don't have the counter in 40k, because it's already kind of, interestingly enough, it's like people are expecting the haters, and there's been this the positive, the best defense is an offense. So the people who are big fans of 40k and excited about 8th edition, I've seen elements of it being quite aggressive about those people who are concerned about it, or not so keen to adopt it, or just hesitant even, wanting to know more before they even make their decision. And we talked about that on the other night where we covered 8th edition 40k and talked about how people respond. Give people space,
waterfall
because
management.
Yeah, no, it wasn't the management side, but it was the psychological reaction to change, Sam. But thank you for paying attention. It's good to know I listen to you as much as you listen to me. But give people space is my point, I think, and also understand where they're at if they're struggling with this, because some people will have invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into building their armies, and they will have built armies specifically around tactics. So there will be a Tyranid player out there with 5 Flyrants, because they liked playing that game amongst a bunch of other people who came with 3 Storm Surgers. And, that's where their level of gaming had got to. It was power against power. And they'll see that potentially they'll see that dismantled and less effective, and they'll respond to that. So give people space and time to and keep working with them as well. It's interesting. We've seen people say, I've watched your battle report and I've decided to give the game a go. I mean, how long has Sigmar been out now? And it's taken a while for some people to come around to it. So I think yours was probably the best answer so far, Sam, because it is a shame when not everybody can move at the same time and be in the same space. But it's a broad hobby, and there's room for everybody eventually, one way or another.
I think equally, though, it will bring a lot of new people to the game. I mean, I know I tried 7th edition and never really quite got into it, but actually I'm really excited about 8th edition because it sounds like they've made it easier to get the hang of.
I think this Geronimo's made the point that, I mean, he said, I don't mind people being hesitant or reserved. It's the same. I was the same way about Age of Sigmar. It's the people who keep complaining about Lasguns killing land raiders that are ridiculous. And I think that's the big thing, is you see people who just pick up a rule out of context and go, this is ridiculous, I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again, as opposed to just going, all right, we'll see what happens with it and how it is actually going to work in the game, because they've tested it, they've obviously looked at it. We'll see what happens.
I mean, we were doing some number crunching the other night with Pink, and it would take a hell of a lot of Lasguns, even based on the information we'd got and having a guess at how many wounds a land raider would have. You're into the hundreds. So yeah, it's one of those things. I think what you'll see is some really cool stuff where a land raider has battered its way across the field and it's down to its last 1 or 2 wounds, and a valiant platoon of 10 will just manage to shoot through the open window slot and pick out the driver or something. That's what it will represent.
Part of the narrative. It's more cinematic, isn't it? Like, you can imagine the land raider, like you say, being down to its last 3 wounds. There's going to be a few holes in the side of that land raider, and if a Lasgun gets a lucky shot and picks it off at the end, then fair enough. It's going to be great. Yeah, so that's good. Spud's joined us, the Wargamer Viking. Hey up, boys. Welcome, Spud. Right, where were we? What were we talking about? Was that it? That's the last question. We'll go over, actually. Do you want to go over the weapon profiles and the unit profiles? We may as well do that quickly.
I think so. We did have one question, actually, that I promised to return to, which is how do we think Gauss would work in 40k? So I'm going to throw Pink on with this one because he's the game expert. Do you even remember the Gauss rule?
Yeah, so 6 is to auto wound, and any 6 is an auto glance, regardless of the armor, if it doesn't already pen. So I think what we're probably going to see here is either 6 does more damage or 6 increases rend. I can imagine.
So we might see some split profiles on damage. So damage 1 / 4, and it's 4 on a 6 and then 1 throughout, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that might be a bit brutal, but something like that, yeah.
Multiple damage profiles. Is that what you were just saying? I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Genuinely didn't listen to the last bit. I was reading and I can't read and listen. I really struggle.
Oh, now it's acceptable, Sam.
I'm like a control panel here, Phil. You're just sitting there stroking your beard and writing little nasty notes to me. It's a bit different.
You can't read and breathe either, so don't make him read too much.
I don't know if you just said this, but I was thinking damage.
We'll see.
On a 6, you do 2 damage or 3 damage rather than 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4's a bit much.
Wow. Whatever. We're discussing about what we thought Gauss weaponry would do. I think it'll shred. Mike, have you got any ideas on what Gauss will do, or are you just hoping that D-weaponry still?
I've got an alternative idea. I've got an alternative idea. Rather than larger damage, how about an improved rend or armor penetration? But let's face it, armor penetration is just the same way rend works in Age of Sigmar now. It's negative to save, so it could just be a split profile on rend, couldn't it?
I just said that.
I thought you said damage.
No one listens to anyone.
Oh, you were just talking.
The thing is,
we make an hour of actual chat.
There's 5 of us. As long as one of us listens to the other, it's fine. Somebody just said something in the chat as well, because I was reading it rather than listening.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think we might just see damage profiles based on keywords? I think it will be based on abilities. So with the Necrons, it might say Gauss as an ability, and in that ability it will say something like, if you roll a 6 then it will become 2 damage. I think that's one way they could do it, rather than linking it to a keyword. because I think keywords are a way of linking different models, different keywords together. But I think the ability of something will be on the actual profile of whatever it is.
Well, that's what a lot of the Age of Sigmar units have. So, say for instance, with the Storm Fiends for Skaven, I think it's the Lightning Gauntlets. I can't remember what they're called, but I think it's on a 6. And then you get another D6 hits then if you roll a 6 to hit. So I think it'll probably be along them lines for a lot of things in 40k.
Yeah, and it was this, I always go back to the Phoenix Guard because they're a good example of abilities as well as the way that ward saves work now and the way that invulnerable saves may work. And that you've got an ability that says you get a save after your normal armor save. So whether they take Phoenix Guard's example, and if you're playing a Terminator, you have a 2-up save, and then you get a 5-up ability, which saves you after you fail your armor save. They may do it like that. Auric Love God's put, it's going to be like AOS. Armor is going to be a 4-up, 5-up, 6-up. They are just going to increase wounds. Didn't they say all vehicles are going to be the same? Yes, they did. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Will the Clash
vehicles
fan,
what is this? Be the same? Does that mean they're all 3-up? Because the profile for the Dreadnought was a 3-up save, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see all sorts of stat profiles and things like that. I think that's just a guess for Gauss weaponry. What news did we have on unit profiles? Pink. I'm confused.
Yes.
Just before you do that, actually, Will the Clash fan is saying, please, what is this? Please tell me. What do you mean? Tell you about what, the channel or the chat or
what we're talking
the
about?
Subject? We're talking about Gauss weaponry and what we think it would. There we go. They're covering it in the chat.
Okay.
Go for it, Pink.
Cool. So I believe it was yesterday or the day before we had an article come out on Warhammer Community, which I'll quickly link in the chat. But basically, it was showing us some of the example profiles that we will see in the new 8th edition. So what they did is they used Space Marines as being the poster boys to be the examples here. So most of it looks exactly the same, but we've got a movement characteristic, perhaps unsurprisingly 6 inches for infantry and for dreadnoughts. However, the thing that we have got here is that weapon skill has moved from being a comparative stat, like you wouldn't have 4 versus 3 means you can hit on 3s. It's just a straight Space Marines hit on a 3-up, which actually I think is a bit of a sort of subtle buff to Space Marines, because with quite a lot of things being weapon skill 4, they probably averagely hit on 4s. So actually there's a little bit of a buff there. And the other big thing, of course, is like everyone's been chatting about in the chat, is that all of the items which were vehicles have moved over to have a toughness and a wounds characteristic and an armor save. So they'll work exactly in the same manner as any infantry would do. So I think that's pretty much what we've seen. Oh, Terminators have 2 wounds. Everyone's been asking for it. Everyone's been hoping for it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of the Heresy special Terminator units have got 2 wounds, haven't they? So we're kind of used to that on the 30k side of things. It was only a matter of time before they switched it over to 40k.
Yeah, they're too susceptible to light arms fire at the moment.
Of course, the instant win of this move over to hit, both in combat and in shooting, not having to make the reference table, is just speed again, isn't it? You don't need to know your, certainly in combat, you don't need to know your opponent's profile. So you can just get on within your own turn and start rolling, can't you? And they've said all along they want to increase the pace of the game. That move on its own will significantly shave the game down.
Yes.
In terms of time, without even taking into consideration anything else like the removal of templates, which again is definitely another slower of the game. I'll miss templates, by the way. I love the scatter rule. I'm hoping there's some kind of mechanic to work with on that. But
you're going back to what you missed about 7th.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Other
that's
than that, well, it's another thing, isn't it? So yes, pace, and that's what I really like. Know your own army, know it really well, and you are less dependent then on understanding your opponent's army, other than identifying weaknesses and strengths and weaknesses, rather. and hopefully hopefully that will be identified by the model. In other words, if you look at a big tank, it's going to be tough. If you look at a little dude wandering across the board, it shouldn't be so tough.
Yeah.
you know.
We've got a few more people in the chat. We've got James Westwood. Welcome to the channel. How much have I missed? Not loads. What have we been talking about? We've been talking about Salute. We've been talking about how Wargamer Online started and the website, and we've just started doing a few topics about Warhammer 40k 8th edition. So we've got a bit more to go through, but it's going to be wrapped up fairly soon, and our next chat will be tomorrow. We're going to go through who else is in the chat, because I know there's some more people that
Hyper's saying Marines with 1 wound is okay. I agree. I think we should.
Yeah, well, that was Turrican. How do people feel about Marines only having 1 wound? I mean, I could have seen Terminators with 3 and Marines going to 2, so that your normal Guardsmen are on 1. Your basic human, your basic Eldar Guardian has got 1 wound, and then your Marines, they're supposed to be superhuman. Maybe 2 wounds wouldn't have been too far from it. They could have just put the points up to represent it.
I could have seen that. Then how many Guardsman models would you need to go against the Space Marine army?
I know, and the other thing is when you think about having to keep a tally of wounds, then I know that obviously the mechanic is going to be allocate wounds against a model and then go from there, but there's going to be dice all over the table recording wounds.
I don't think it would be that difficult. I mean, you look in Age of Sigmar, most units have got multiple wounds. My army in general, Iron Jaws, every Ardboy has got 2 wounds. The Brutes have got 3. The Gore Grunters have got like 5 or 6 or something. It's not difficult to keep track of that.
Yeah, it's a good point.
No, Sam. As your battle report testifies.
Yeah, I don't know any rules. I just forget everything. There's a few people leaving. It's afternoon, not night. It depends where you are in the world, Will. Very much depends where you are in the world. Phil lost a bet the other day because he didn't specify time zone. So he was about 20 hours out and lost a bet. So.
Yeah. Although actually, any more than 12 hours, I lost the bet anyway. But you're right, I was about 20 hours out. I could have been only 8 hours out. That's the main thing.
Yes. We've got Solvent Abuse UK. Hello, welcome to the channel. I've not seen you before. And there was somebody else as well. I think was in the chat earlier. Surreal. I'm thinking Powers of Catan for Necrons. It's all templates. Yeah, that'll be a big change to see what they do with all of the powers. Since they've removed templates, you might see Necron Catan Lords becoming a little bit more powerful.
Or being used at all.
Being used, yeah. That goes back to one of the questions we were talking about earlier. Okay.
So, besides the fact that the stats have changed, did anything catch your eye on the 4? The Tactical Squad, the Dreadnought, Rebute, Terminator? They were the 4 that was released. Did anything catch your eye in particular and raise an eyebrow or two?
In Age of Sigmar, you've got the to hit and the to wound rolls. They're always a flat roll. You don't check anything. I was interested in the fact that they keep the strength and the toughness. I thought they were going to get rid of strength and toughness and just do a flat roll, but I think that's going to make the vehicle and the massive stat line definitely work a lot better. It's going to be, I think Age of Sigmar is going to be a very basic version, and 40k will be a step up, but it still be simplified.
But the other thing they'd said is on stats is 10 is not going to be a cap anymore. So things could go above that, didn't they?
Yeah.
So if you're still doing strength versus toughness, what exactly will that table change now?
It's going to have to be bigger, isn't it? And of course, it will always be capped at 6 because you are always going to be able to wound something. But yeah, I think the bands will be broader. We sat, myself and Jack sat and put a lasgun up against a Dreadnought and just sort of rolled a few dice. And the only real point of reference we were missing was the strength versus toughness chart. So we assumed, we started off with, well, it's the same as the current mechanic, in which case I think it was strength 9, toughness 6. So I think that was a 3 to wound, I think, or a 4 to wound.
2s, I think.
2s, is it?
Yeah,
It's even the 2s, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've already forgotten. I've moved on so much. And we was like, well, that doesn't add up still, because the las cannon was really quickly punching through the Dreadnought, and we were saying a unit of 5 las cannons would definitely wipe out a Dreadnought, and we were kind of saying, does that really make sense then with what they were doing? So maybe those bands are going to get broader, maybe 6, especially because nothing's capped at 10 now. So we are going to see things that are strength 15 versus toughness 7 and things like that. It feels like the bands will need to be broader, won't they?
It's interesting that they decided to change the stats but not change the dice. It would have been easier, I think. Well, it might not have been, but just looking at it, maybe using a D10 or a D12 instead of a D6 and keeping a similar sort of, a smaller number. Yeah, I'm just thinking back to computer games. When this is completely off wargaming in a way, but when I played Warcraft, the numbers were all low. So you might have 100 or 200 health on a character. When they brought out new expansions, they brought it up to the thousands and then hundreds of thousands. And it got to the point where the numbers were ridiculous and it was difficult to balance things. And then they, in the later expansions, realised this and started to bring it back down to a basic level again. And I'm wondering if it's going to get to the same point where stats will become too high, or they'll keep going with stats to make them bigger and better, and it may end up becoming too much, and that will make it more complicated. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but that's just something that I was thinking then.
Just to finish up on saying Phil said there, a couple of odd things I did see is dreadnoughts have now got a leadership value. So it makes you think, if psychic powers stay the same, can you now psychic shriek them? And tactical squads, for some reason, have lost a point of leadership. I think they were always leadership 8. They've now gone down to 7, but obviously those mechanics are being reworked. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Wargamer Vikings just put, how happy is Phil? Got best couple of Salute 2017 with me. Phil hasn't stopped talking about it, Spud. He's I think he's got the picture has been printed and it's getting framed fairly soon.
I'm keeping a small copy in my wallet for now, and then I'm actually printing it out big enough to cover this entire backdrop. Is the idea.
And somebody else asked as well, Phil. I'm just going to go up. Anders Olsen, will Phil buy me a Mortarion model when it drops if you don't hit 1,500 subscribers before the weekend? Are we going to have another bet? Are you going to start betting with our subscribers now? Because, I mean, what happens when you bet?
I'll take that. But what day is it now? That would help. If I actually knew what day it was.
Just send Phil bets and I'll let him manage that.
Yes, I will buy Sam a Mortarion if we've not hit 1,500
Oh, me?
fans.
No, I'm talking about you buy him the Mortarion.
Oh, buy him one?
Not me.
I thought he was trying to just drum something. We'll buy me a Mortarion.
You could buy me one, but you already owe me 50 quid.
Well, 1,500 before the weekend. Before the weekend's
close. What are we on Thursday? It's quite close, actually.
Close. That'd be Sunday.
Close. End of the weekend, you can have that bet.
How about no? I'm thinking Saturday. I would even do. So you haven't sorted this 50 quid out. Maybe we bet.
We can double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
So we're going double or nothing. So if we haven't hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of midnight Saturday UK time, because we had this before.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the money I bet with you to buy Anders a Mortarion.
No. Just between you and me. No, hear me out. If we're not at 1,500 by the end of Saturday, you owe me another 50 quid. But
okay. Or
if we are, then I give you the 50 quid back. So we're even again.
Yeah, and we'll give Anders.
Well, Anders is just going to get a Mortarion. Is that what you're saying?
No, at the very least, he'll get a token towards Mortarion. How about that? Yeah. You can hold us to that, Anders.
Elster Nation has joined. Hey, peeps, been watching, but I haven't been able to chat because I was painting. That's no problem at all. These are for people who want to join in the chat, people who want to paint, people who want to watch it back. And I think on that note, we may end up calling this chat for today. I think we've gone on for longer than an hour. It's been a brilliant one. We've had loads of people. Thank you to everyone who's joined and given us thumbs up again. The thumbs up are still going, aren't they, Phil?
Yes, they are.
People are enjoying it.
Thank you. That's good. That's good. We're very pleased.
Thank you to everybody.
Sam, don't forget your announcement.
Oh, announcement. Yes. I told you had to remind me. We are having a very special guest. And his name, who is it, Rachel?
It's Sean Gately from Blue Table Painting. Yes.
So Sean Gately.
How excited is that?
Sean Gately will be joining us this coming Sunday, and it will be 10 o'clock UK time, so 10 o'clock BST. And we will have Sean, myself, Phil, and I think Mike. There's going to be 4 of us on. So if anybody wants to join on that chat on Sunday, we will have a new guest. And he's an awesome guy. We've been watching his channel for many years, actually. I think when it first started, I've been watching. So I'm going to be a little bit starstruck getting Sean on. Right, so thank you to everyone who has joined in the Hangout. Mr. Pink, Mike, Rachel, Phil, and myself. I'm thanking myself.
Bye, Sam.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody in the chat on YouTube. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Thank you to everybody who has gone on our website and made a free account. And to everybody who has gone on our website and made a premium account and supported us in what we do. It's massively appreciated. It's been great to chat to everybody. Thank you to everybody who has been chatting away. Thank you, fellow geeks, Redcuff says. Great to hear a sensible convo that isn't just me and my cat. That's no problem at all.
Although you should put that on YouTube.
Put that on YouTube. Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm going to be heading around Phil's with people. I don't know who's going around yet for definite, but there's going to be a recorded chat. There's going to be one for YouTube, and there's going to be one for the premium members on the website. So there's going to be two chats going up. And then on Friday, myself and Mike, and maybe others, will be doing a live hobby hangout as well. So we've got quite a lot of stuff going on. And then at the weekend, we've got our normal unboxing on Saturday, our battle report on Sunday, and then the wonderful live chat with Sean Gately from Blue Table Painting. So have a good evening, afternoon, or morning, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. And we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.